Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Never Seen It. I am your host today. My name is Trent. I am sitting here, as always, with the one and only Betsy.
There's only one of me.
Betsy, if you did not know, this is a podcast about movies that we haven't seen yet.
I had heard
I
that
know
somewhere.
this is your first time on the show.
I know. I've never been here before, despite my name being in the title of the podcast.
I know. How weird is that? But guys, this is the week where the Oscar nominations are finally out. We know what the 10 nominees for Best Picture are, and holy crap, we've already done 6 of them.
We did well. We did well in advance when we're just kind of guessing and figuring out where the wind might be blowing.
I think we're getting better at this, Betsy.
We pay attention.
It's true. But for this Sunday and for the next 3 Sundays, we're going to finish out the last 4 movies that we haven't already covered, culminating with our Oscar special. Now, you might be asking us, well, guys, don't you normally put out your Oscar special on Oscar Sunday? Well, I'm glad you asked. We do normally do that, but this year, because we're so far ahead and they've kind of pushed out the Oscar ceremony, it's usually not in the middle of March.
On top of that, the films that we have left to watch are actually going to be available. We don't have to have a mad dash to the finish line like we have had every year for the last 5 years.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot easier for us to cover these movies, which means you guys also have access to them too. You can follow along with us, watch the movies as we watch them, listen to our episodes, and put some good vibes out about all these fucking movies. So we're going to hit the ground running here by watching Hamnet. Now, Betsy, this has kind of been on everybody's lists of, movies that we thought were going to be nominated for Best Picture. It was winning all these awards at all these festivals. It's an artsy-fartsy movie about Shakespeare, but what do you know about the movie?
I know that we've had this on our watch list for 2 months, and it was not playing in South Dakota until about 5 minutes ago. We would have done this last week, except we just didn't have time in our schedule to go to the theater to see it. So,
and thankfully, it's coming back.
Thankfully.
So, hey, it's Saturday fucking morning, guys. We're going to the theater for you to watch this movie. But Betsy, answer my question. What do you know about Hamnet?
I know it is based on a book. I don't really know anything about the actual book beyond that there is one. I know that it is about Shakespeare. It is about William Shakespeare.
The man himself, not just his plays.
No. It is about his personal life. When he was young, he was married and they had a child together that died very young.
Yes.
And so this is all about the grief of parents losing a child and how you translate that into art because it inspires Hamlet. So his son is actually called Hamnet with an N, and then he writes the play, which is with an L. And when this first came out, and I didn't know that, I was like, what the hell is Hamnet? Why do you keep calling it that? That's not the name of the play.
Is that like a weird website or web domain about pigs?
Ham.net.
Ham.net.
It is not that.
We checked. It is not available. We cannot buy ham.net.
Do not bring me into this. That was all you,
Of course.
sir.
You were there, though.
I was there. I bore witness and I didn't stop you, so I guess I'm partially to blame.
All right, Betsy, who's in the movie?
Jessie Buckley. She's kind of the big talk here. She is one of the frontrunners for Best Actress in a leading role. And she's already been picking up some hardware at different awards shows, so we'll see if she keeps on that momentum or if there's anything that can stop that freight train.
Yeah, and we already know that she has been nominated here. Paul Mescal, however, was not nominated for this, which kind of got some controversy going, saying, he's kind of the focus here. He's really good in the movie. I haven't heard shit about him in it, though.
That's because he's not actually the focus. She is the focus. That's why all the attention has been on her. Yeah, it's more about the mother's perspective. Even though it's about an artist, an extremely well-known author, she is more of the focal point.
Okay, that's completely news to me.
Yeah, but Paul Mescal, the only other person I know who's in it is that guy who dated Taylor Swift for a long time, whose name is escaping me.
Fine.
And this is yet another character called Agnes. We've had 3 of them in these movies. I don't think it's pronounced that way, but I've heard this joke going around the internet. There's a ton of movies this year where someone is called Agnes. It was in Sorry Baby, it was in Sentimental Value, and it's in Hamnet.
All of them having so much to do with each other. So, besides all of that, Betsy, I know it's about, Shakespeare going through the grief, which caused him to be inspired to write Hamlet and everything that comes later, of course. I'm not a huge Shakespeare guy. In fact, I've never actually read Hamlet. I have only ever read Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, and Midsummer Night's Dream. I read all of those in high school. I don't remember a goddamn thing about them. But I'm really curious if, not having ever seen the play or actually read the play, what my reaction is going to be, because I assume that you have read it or at least seen the play.
I have read it. I've seen a few different movie versions. I've never actually seen it performed on stage. I've not seen a lot of Shakespeare done live. But I think in this movie, they're not going to explore the play nearly as much as the stuff around the play.
No,
so I don't think it'll matter that much.
I don't expect there to really be a whole lot about that, but having the context maybe going into it, especially if it's inspired by the events of his own life. Maybe if I know more about the play, it's like maybe some bells are going to be ringing. I have no idea.
Okay, Trent, what you need to know about Hamlet is the Lion King.
Oh, well then, I guess that's a good enough base of knowledge for me. Let's go and watch Hamnet. We'll be right back. And that was Hamnet. Now, guys, that is a movie that you really need to sit with. And I would just like to say, I sat there at the end of the movie in the theater, not wanting to move. And that is a rarity for me. But Betsy, what is your immediate reaction upon watching Hamnet?
I had the same reaction as you, as did I think everyone else who was in that theater with us, because the movie ended and the lights came up and nobody was moving.
Nobody moved.
And I was a mess. I know that you saw me crying on more than one occasion throughout that movie.
Yeah.
I think there were 4 to 5 different times that I was just like streaming tears down my face.
Well merited.
Yeah, it's very, very good. I can also see why some people are being really negative about it if that's not the headspace that they're in to watch this movie. The big thing I'm hearing from people who are kind of like, oh, this is on the lower end of my Best Picture nominees, is they are describing this as emotionally manipulative. How do you feel about that term as it applies to Hamnet?
You know, it's a movie, and that's kind of the point. And I know this is a fictional tale, all right? William Shakespeare did have a wife, did have children, and I'm sure that a lot of the things that he went through in his life inspired his work. I don't honestly care if the book was written to be manipulative of the readers, same thing with the movie. Sitting here right now, I'm telling you that this is a beautifully crafted movie that made me really sad.
That's how I'm feeling about it. And to the people who say it's emotionally manipulative, I would say what you are saying. Emotion begets art, art begets emotion, emotion begets art, and the cycle continues on and on and on. Because this is the kind of story that is a tragedy. It is genuinely just, this is how you're going to feel watching it.
Also, things like this happen in real life.
Yes.
Whether it actually really happened to William Shakespeare or not is irrelevant.
Except it did. It's just how you interpret how that is, because you don't know how he felt how many hundreds of years on, 300 years removed from the events. This is just one person's interpretation of how they imagine he could have felt, how the world changed around him, how his art changed as a result of tragedy. And that's how everybody who has tragedy in their lives deals with it. It's all about how you cope. It's about what that grief does to you. Do you fall apart or do you translate it into something else?
Betsy, I would like to point out here, this is the second movie nominated for Best Picture that deals with somebody using their art as a way to deal with their own mental anguish. Sentimental value being the other one, of course. Now, did I have the same kind of reaction to sentimental value as I did to this one? Not to the same degree, but it's the same kind of animal here, where the character himself said, I have a really hard time expressing how I'm feeling, so instead I'm going to write it down. And he chooses to express how he feels and his own anguish through his work. Not everybody is gonna be somebody who can have these long sonnets and soliloquies in your real life. Sometimes you have to write it down and have somebody else say it.
And of course, in the movie, his wife doesn't understand him. Like, they have been apart for so long.
Right.
She just thinks, you know what? I blame you for not being there. I don't think you really feel this as deeply as I am. Like, she is shutting down with her grief, and he is moving on, just compartmentalizing it. And when she goes to this show, she's fucking pissed.
Yeah.
She's like, why would this asshole not tell me he is using our son's name, talking about our son in a very public forum? I can't get down with this. But it's that moment of realization where she has to see it to understand it.
And her brother also tells her going in, you need to have your heart open to what it is that you're going to experience here. And at first, she doesn't. She's very, I don't know, standoffish with even the actors on stage. Like, it's not their fucking fault. They didn't write this stuff. But as she's just standing there absorbing all of the prose coming out of these people's mouths, it's really not something that she's experienced before either, I'm sure. Because if this is William Shakespeare's first big play that is getting, talk of the town, or people are coming to her where she is living to say, Jesus, have you heard of this play? Have you heard of this tragedy? To the point where she's the only one that he is lying to here about, oh yeah, I'm writing a comedy. The next thing that I'm working on is a comedy.
But it's because that's the last piece of information she had. And they say he hasn't been talking to her.
Right.
There's a distance, a physical and emotional distance between them.
Yeah. Speaking of, I don't know where else I could talk about this, but now, did you also get the flashbacks to when we've watched that John Adams miniseries, where somebody who is highly intelligent goes away from his family and has a higher calling than just being a father to his family and a husband to his wife? John Adams, in real life and in that miniseries, he goes off to the Continental Congress. He goes off and defends the people who committed the Boston Massacre. So he is not only physically distant, but also mentally distant from his entire family. And like with the characters in this movie, there is also this fucking plague that is happening and his family is sick. There's members of his family who get sick and die while he's away. And yes, there is resentment and there is just anguish within the family, but he keeps coming home. He does love his family. And I would just like to say, I'm sure the people who made this movie have probably seen the John Adams miniseries because god damn did I get a lot of vibes there.
I wasn't getting that, but I understand the correlation as you're describing it to me, because it is a time and a place where people had to go where the work was.
Yeah.
And in Hamnet, William Shakespeare is this creative person who is going to be stifled and completely suffer where he is.
Yeah,
he
because
has to go to the big city.
Yeah, his dad, he works with manual labor. They make gloves. It's leather work. And he just cannot work underneath his father because his father is a fucking asshole.
He's an abusive son of a bitch.
Absolutely. And he gets to the point where he says, I can't do this anymore. I fucking quit, while throttling his own fucking father at the same time. And after that happens, he becomes this kind of drunk and he's pouring himself into this work that there's really nothing to come of it because he's still at home and he has all of these home responsibilities. So he decides at that moment, well, not only am I not getting any work, I'm not getting any work done that I need to, so I need to go away.
It's not even that. She recognizes it within him. Like,
Right.
He's got to go. I
Right.
need him to leave because if he doesn't, it's going to kill him.
Yeah, she recognizes that he is just becoming obsessed and there's something in him mentally that he's just being stifled. There's so much going on in his head. She says something about, I mean, this is later on in the movie, but she says, "You're caught in that place in your head." This is after the real tragedy happens, of course, when he can't really express even his grief in front of his wife. And there's really just not an understanding between these two people because they can't talk to each other anymore. But you're right. She recognizes in him that there is so much that has to come out in a way that she'll never understand. And it's not until she finally sees it on stage and hears the words coming out of these actors' mouths and really just seeing William Shakespeare on stage himself acting as this ghost.
But she even observes when she shows up, that was him. That was him. He's not one of the players. What's he doing here?
Right.
Because he is playing the ghost of Hamlet's father.
Yes.
So he's basically in the movie playing himself.
Yes.
Where he gets to give this speech about how I am what's left of your father. And it is extremely symbolic of the way he is feeling inside. And that's the only way he can express to her how he's actually feeling. Like, we're a year plus removed from the death of his son. And he almost made it. He was like a day too late.
Right.
And that moment where Hamnet is dead and he thinks it's his daughter who's about to die. He is racing home to see his daughter and he is overcome with joy to see her up and about and she's okay.
And then he asks the question, who's that?
The crushing moment where he realizes someone else has died.
Yeah.
When you are expecting one thing and then you come home to something else. And then he goes off and he can't express any of this. And he writes this show where he is the one acting out his own grief. Like, I am like the husk of your father. I am what's left of your father.
Yeah.
And I think pretty much from this point to the end of the movie, I was like, yep, it's coming. I can feel it. I can feel the tears. I know how this is going to end.
Yeah. And, you know, we're talking about Paul Mescal here, and I know he didn't get nominated for an Oscar for acting here, but that is not to say that he does not put in the work here and make me feel some things, especially in that moment where he's kind of off stage, witnessing his work happening, where he's getting the quote unquote makeup off, and he just sits there and starts to cry, starts to break down. Then he starts to laugh. And soon after that, he's kind of, again, watching and witnessing and hearing. It's really just him hearing. He hears his words. He hears the hush across the entire crowd witnessing this thing. And to me, that feels like he knows he's got something. He knows that this is his fucking masterpiece. So he is conflicted. He is just grief-stricken with the death of his son. But also he knows he finally got it out of himself. And this is something that is really going to be his major accomplishment. I don't know. What did you think about Paul Mescal?
It occurred to me while we were watching the movie. I know who he is. I have not watched him act in a single thing. I was really racking my brain. I'm like, nope, I don't think I've watched any of his movies.
Yeah, he's a name that I know because I know he's acted in things that are like tangentially related to stuff that we've already seen, but we haven't seen any of his movies.
But he is also very, very good in this. And he is playing a guy with a lot of conflicted feelings where like he is working to pay off his father's debt because his dad is a bad guy. He's not good with money. Mm-hmm. He is trying to support his family, but he also has this creative itch and he knows that he is outgrowing the place that he is living.
Yeah, his father and his extended family here are dismissing, all your fancy book learning and your education. What has that gotten you?
And you're useless. And
yeah, they keep calling him useless, even though he has this brilliance inside of him that he just doesn't know how to get it out, to the point where he's tutoring, like you said, he's tutoring these kids, teaching them Latin. But a lot of this stuff, it just kind of comes easy to him. Like manual labor is not his thing. So it's another theme of, I don't want your life. I don't want to be like my father. I don't want to be like everybody else. I'm special and I have something to say.
But what I really liked is they don't say the name William Shakespeare until the fucking end of the movie.
Right.
They
Who
do
are
not,
you looking for? William Shakespeare.
Yeah, he is not actually born, the idea of William Shakespeare as we know it,
Yeah.
until he is in London and she goes there to see Hamlet.
Which is where they also discover this is where Will lives. He lives in this attic somewhere. Where in the mind of where he's from, like all the townspeople, they know that Will Shakespeare, he lives and his family lives in the biggest house in the town. Then he goes to London and he's fucking nobody.
All of the money he has made, he has put towards his family. He
Yeah.
bought this property. He built this house. It's all for them. But all this to say, he's playing William Shakespeare before he is William Shakespeare. And as just a guy who is living under these circumstances, Paul Mescal is extremely, extremely good.
And if you did not know that this was a movie about William Shakespeare, that might have just completely blown your mind.
If you went in completely empty-handed, if you had no
Yeah.
information,
Yeah.
and then they suddenly announced that's who we've been watching this entire
If
fucking
you
movie.
didn't know the title or the subject matter here and you just thought that this was a tale about a family, your mind probably would have been completely blown.
Because he's just this guy at the beginning of the movie who sees a girl. And that opening couple of minutes where they're just falling in love, I was so smitten with the two of them
Yes,
together.
yes.
It is so sweet, him just seeing this woman with a hawk just walk out of the fucking forest.
Like, hey, you're interesting.
She emerges and she's not like anybody else he's ever met. And he can't stand it. He has got to be with this woman.
Yeah. And was it her who says, I'll tell you my name if you kiss me or something to that
No.
effect? Or he says it?
She says, I don't think I should tell you. And he says, you'll tell me after I kiss you.
Okay.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
laying a line on her.
so we get that introduction. And then later, the next time where he's just like, again, I've got to see this woman.
Uh-huh.
He can't express himself. And she says, I thought you were a man of words. So tell me a story. And he tells this story, which is another fucking tragedy.
It is.
But that's how he expresses himself. And it comes full circle because it's the same thing. At the beginning, to express himself to her and how he is feeling, he tells her the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. And at the
Yes.
end of the movie, he tells her how he is feeling through the story of Hamlet.
And there's even that moment there where she is kind of whispering, look at me, look at me, look at me.
Willing it to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does, but then he just keeps on going with the show. Man. Well, I suppose that is a good enough place for us to take a quick break for a word from our sponsor. We're going to talk a whole lot more about Hamnet right after this. This season, give yourself the gift you've always wanted. It's not a new car, and certainly not diamond jewelry. It's premium podcasts from the industry's leading connoisseurs of conversation. For only $5 a month, you will receive the most privileged access to their entire catalog. Patreon.com/NeverSeenItPod. Only the best for the discerning listener. So Jessie Buckley's gonna win an Oscar, isn't she?
Trent, she's extraordinary in this movie. Every moment that she is on this screen, I am just breathless waiting to see what she's going to do next.
Yeah. Normally when you see a movie like this, especially after you know the person has been nominated for an Oscar, normally when that happens, you're waiting for the moment. Like, what is the big Oscar moment? You know, the thing that they're going to show when it's at the Oscar ceremony and they're showing your reel from the movie. What is it here that they're going to show? Well, Betsy, there's like 5 things that they could show that would fucking make her a shoo-in for this award.
From the moment she shows up on screen and then anytime anything happens, I'm just like, you're just amazing. Everything you're doing, every tiny reaction. When he tells her the story of Orpheus and Eurydice, and she's just watching him, and you look at her face and you can see all of that feeling processing in her brain. Like, why did he choose this story? And how do I feel about it? When he shows up and he is just circling her madly and says, I gotta be married to you. Like, this has to happen.
This is happening.
And the look on her face, and she's like, nobody's gonna approve this. And the two of them basically concoct a plan.
Yeah.
They're just like, we're gonna fuck on the apples. We're gonna have sex.
Yeah.
Because if I have a baby, it's going to be a big scandal and they'll have no choice but to let us get married.
Yeah, it's going to be a shotgun wedding before there was even a fucking term for it.
The way they reveal this, like she's just sitting in his house and she's got that little smirk because she fucking knows it's working. Everything they are planning is going their way. And he's just like, yep, I did it.
Well, that's the thing. They know how their families are going to react.
Exactly.
She gets kicked out of her place, goes over to his place. The family there is very upset about it, but all they need is one. All they need is one person to say, you know what? You fucking crazy kids, you go and get married. It's the brother. And that's so awesome.
But it's not even about that because it's, again, at a time where you're trying to avoid scandal. And some people would say, just send her away and we're never going to talk about this again.
Yep.
But instead, the two of them light up as they realize, oh, hey, we're going to get married. We just have to like pretend for 5 more minutes and it's all going to go our way.
Oh, Betsy, Jessie Buckley here. It's all in the eyes. I was watching her face, and she has an amazing face for acting. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. But early on, she has these just really, really sad eyes. And it's not until she meets him and he puts the smile on her face. Her smile is so big and so pretty and just so happy. I cannot express to you how much her smiling made me smile.
And as you get to just watch their relationship unfold, I didn't realize how much of this movie we'd be spending at like the beginning of their relationship as we grow with them.
And it's not even just the relationship too. You get flashbacks with her and like it's her parents meeting for the first time because they kind of meet in the same way.
And then there's the sequences where she's giving birth. The first time, she just wakes up and she's like, I know it's time.
Right.
And she goes into the woods alone.
By herself to give birth next to this fucking tree.
The strength you have to just know it's all going to be okay.
And you know what to do. You know what's going to happen because you've been taught your entire life. This is the sequence of events.
And this is where you are most comfortable. This is the place she is at ease, is out in the woods, out with nature. And she just believes in her heart of hearts, I can have this baby and it's all going to be okay. And she left a note. It's not like she didn't tell anybody where she was going. She's like, it's time. I got to do my thing. Off she pops. And there was this moment, Trent, I don't know if you noticed it. The forest is breathing with her.
I didn't notice that.
There is kind of this silence where the air is all blowing and you can hear the wind and it sounds like it's breathing as she is breathing. It was really cool. But then it's the exact opposite when she has the twins and she is not allowed to go to the forest. Her mother-in-law says, the fuck you're going out there. The river is flooded. You'll die. We're going to keep you in this house and it's all going to be okay. And that absolute panic on her face because she knows she's going to be way better off. With what she understands.
There's also this overhanging thing about what she was taught as a child. And part of that is her mother telling her, pay attention to your dreams. They will always guide you. And she mentions here and there about having visions. And she comes from a family where the women, they see things that other people don't. And the thing about, I don't really know what else to call it other than apothecary, like making medicines and serums out of nature and whatnot. She's very, very connected to nature, which is why maybe the act of childbirth is so easy for her because she knows what all the mechanics are.
Until she's put in a position where she can't give birth according to her own birth plan. They lock her in the house, and like when that water is coming in, she starts freaking the fuck out. She's like, it is all going wrong. And of course, what we find out is her mother died in childbirth. And so she has this preconceived notion that I could die if I have this baby in this house. And like I saw what happened to my mother.
And something about 2 children and a deathbed.
She has had visions that she is going to die with 2 children by her side. And that's it.
Yeah.
She's having 2 kids, full stop. So when she finds out she's about to have a third because she's having twins, she fucking panics. And this scene is pretty hard to watch because she is freaking out that the child is going to die or that she's going to die. She's thinking about how her mother died.
I think she's also thinking about it's not infection, but that is that is what it means. All of this water coming in that she says is from downstream. Well, you don't wash things downstream. People knew that by this day. So if you're going to be using whatever water that is coming during a storm, during a flood, all that stuff is contaminated. You cannot use it. They don't know that it's contaminated with, microorganisms, but she knows enough not to use that water.
But she's also in just a really weird state of mind. Like her brain is going all over the place during this scene.
Yeah, and there's this moment here after she gives birth to the first of the twins, where the mother-in-law comes up to her and says, your husband, he was born right over there. He took his first breath looking out of this window. And she's telling you, you need to do this, because if you do not get the gumption up to give birth yet again, if you don't do it, you're going to die. It's at this moment where Agnes just starts calling out for her own mother. And that's where we get the flashback to the scene where she sees her own mother die right after childbirth, because we can see she's on this, I don't know, bed or gurney or...
she's on a slab.
She's on a slab of some kind, and you can see the blood by her crotch. So again, presumably she died during childbirth, and she was there to witness that, and maybe she's lived in fear of this happening to her entire life.
And in this moment where it's out of her control now, they won't let her leave to give birth her way.
Right.
All of that is flooding back. And it feels like from this moment on, she thinks there's kind of a curse on her. Like she's giving birth the wrong way. She has to protect this baby. They thought the baby was dead. She's like, you give me that fucking baby.
Yeah, you give me my baby and I'm going to do, and God, I mean, I'm not a father, but them shaking that baby just made me shake.
Trying to get the baby to breathe.
Yeah, God. But in a way, she kind of wills that child to live, and she dedicates her life at that moment, making sure that nothing happens to this child. And then when something does happen to that child, she goes all out. She gets all of her skill put together to try to fight whatever infection it is. And to her credit, it works. But she doesn't count on what happens to the son.
She's holding on so tightly to one child that she forgets about the other one in that moment.
She gives it her all. She's got nothing left.
And when he dies, Trent, and she gives out that scream, and there is just this silence hanging in the air after that.
Fuck.
That fucked me up. That entire sequence.
Yeah.
I was a mess.
It's that point all the way until the father comes home and sees it, and even he doesn't have a huge reaction there either. It's all of this really, really heavy air in that room where the daughter... Betsy, I'm sorry, but this is the moment that got me. When the twin daughter comes down, when the girl comes down, the mother-in-law says, no, child, get out of here. You don't want to see this. And the mother, you know what? No, you need to come. Because they're twins. And I don't have any siblings, Betsy. I know you do. You're not a twin. You don't have any twins in your family. But there is a connection there. And they show it a little bit in the movie. But knowing what I know about twins, she had to see it. She had to see it. And what they went through the previous night, where Hamnet says, oh, maybe I can confuse death. Maybe I can make death take me instead. I don't want you to die. Or maybe death will take both of us.
Yeah, either we're both going to die or let it take me instead of you. Yeah. I give you my life. Oh my God, Trent, since we're here, this kid is so fucking good. This little boy who plays Hamnet, when he is having these moments that are well beyond his years.
Oh, yeah.
When he's acting out in the garden, when he is crying, telling his mom, I'm sad that dad left, but when I grow up, I'm going to be brave, and this is what I'm going to do.
I'm going to be one of his players,
Yeah. And then we follow it up with, he is the first one to discover his twin sister is sick.
Right.
And he can't deal with it. He is the one who literally says, he can see death. He's looking up because he's already sick. Mm-hmm. And he says, look away, turn away from it. I can see him. He's right there.
I'm protecting you.
I'm going to protect you and let him take me instead of taking you. Or by God, if he's going to take us both. I can't live without you.
Yeah, it's that moment. And it's the moment right after that in that room that I'm talking about here, where he is being wrapped up in this sheet. And the sister is looking on him, goes up to him and says, "That's not him. That doesn't look like him.
I don't know who that is.
I don't know who that is." And the same thing when the father comes in. "Who's that?" But that is the moment for me, because I've seen a dear friend of mine was suddenly killed in a car accident, and it was an open casket. And I went up to the casket, and I didn't recognize my friend that I had known forever. And that was the moment for me when I broke down, not only in the movie, but in that funeral. And it's not just that personal connection there, but even that little girl, the actress, does it so well, where she's conflicted about, I know that's my brother. I know he was sick. I saw him die. I was in the room, but it still doesn't look like him.
There's a sense of closure, though, that comes. Because,
Yes.
like, the rest of the movie, like, William Shakespeare is saying, I keep looking for him. I keep trying to find him because, of course, he wasn't there when he died. So to him, he's still alive, kind of.
Right.
So he's like, where did my son go?
My son is out there and wanting me to find him, and I can't find him.
And the way he finds him is through his art. Like, we literally get the
God.
closure by him putting it into words. But yeah, there is a closure that comes with seeing that person. Like, I've had some people in my life die, and I wasn't there, and then they were cremated. And so then at the funeral, there isn't a body.
It's harder. It's much
harder.
harder. And, you know, as much as it hurt going to the funeral of my friend, I needed to do it. I needed to see it. And it taught me about closure. It taught me about grief. Unfortunately, for some people, they go through it a lot more than even you and I do, where death is just kind of part of their life. And I feel fortunate that we live in a time where there is modern medicine, where back in the time of Shakespeare, it was all kind of guesswork. Like, you saw all of the different implements that they had around the sick sister, where it even looked like there was a pan for bloodletting.
And mom is trying fucking everything she can.
Yeah.
Because she is absolutely determined her daughter's going to live. And even though everyone else around her has said, give it up, your kid's going to die, she refuses to give up. And it's in that moment that it ends up being her other child who dies. Like, when he is there in the bed and she says, you're not supposed to be here, and her daughter is waking up and he is now gray as a sheet. Like, oh God.
Yeah. The reveal there was so fucking shocking to me.
What a horrible thing to wake up to. When you're like, one kid is enough for me to worry about, and now I'm worrying about both of them.
And you're panicking. She is panicking in this moment because you had no idea that the other kid was also going to die or even get sick.
And the rest of the movie, Trent, when she has been wearing her outfits, it's always red. She's always wearing red and she stands out.
Yep.
And her son dies and she goes into mourning. And the light is absolutely gone from this woman. She is wearing this sad brown dress in her sad room, absolutely just a mess, doesn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And she stays in that place until she watches the play. It is over a year where she's coming out of the grieving process. And you can see it in the clothes because it's like gray, and then she's starting to wear a little bit of color.
Yeah.
And then she's in her red again.
Speaking of just being in that room, the other thing that really got me is just they put the camera in the same place every time when we're in the room where the kids sleep. It's kind of like a Wes Anderson kind of a shot where it's very centered. You can see the two beds and each kid has their own set of stuff.
But as we pan, the room changes.
Well, yes, as we pan, the room changes, but also there's the moment there where one of the beds is gone.
And in that sequence, we just see her like sitting at a desk, grieving.
Yeah. But again, as time moves on, when they are moving to London and the house is just now empty, where none of the beds are there, you do kind of have to move on at some point. It's really, really hard to stay in a house where, you know, like we honestly, Betsy, going back to sentimental value, same thing. The movie is about that house, and that house is a character. Same thing in this movie.
We spend a lot of time in this house.
The parallels are really strange.
And there's that scene where they're about to move, and she says to William, like, are you afraid that I'm not going to leave because this is where he died?
Right.
And that's kind of the last thing they say to each other until she sees what he is working on. They don't really talk after this. Like, she does this thing where she holds your hand and puts her thumb in a place, and that's how she can see things about you. The women in her family see things, and she's just like, I don't see anything.
I don't see anything. And the dejectedness that she has in her voice and in her eyes and her face, she's got nothing left because she gave it all to her daughter, and she was maybe going to be able to move to live the rest of her life knowing that she gave it her all. She saved her daughter, and whatever life that she has, that's what she was able to give her. But in this moment, she lost the one thing that she'd never expected to lose.
She was prepared to lose her daughter.
Yeah.
She's been prepared for that her whole life. She might not have been okay, but, she was ready for it. She had played out that scenario in her brain.
And there's even the conversation here about not wanting to move to London because of all it's the pollution is what they're talking about here. Her lungs are weak.
There's too many people. It's bad air.
Yeah.
She's not going to thrive there. And it's also kind of a selfish thing in a way because she is so connected to nature that if they move into the city,
right,
that part of her is gone.
Right.
And at least he recognizes this in his
Absolutely.
own life.
And when he makes the set, it is the forest. And in the movie, it keeps cutting back to this tree, this forest, and this dark void
underneath the root system.
Yeah. Jesus. Man, I wish I didn't already take a break because I kind of needed a break after all of that. But man, Betsy, I didn't expect to really love this movie. I thought maybe it was going to be this hoity-toity kind of a movie that is only made for Oscar voters. Okay. But I've seen enough of these by now that yes, it is one of those kinds of movies, but I can also appreciate what it is and take whatever I can out of it for myself. And I don't know how you're feeling here as far as, yeah, it's not really a movie that we would ever go to if not for it being nominated for Best Picture, but I'm really taken here.
It's not the kind of thing I think I can emotionally be ready for at a moment's notice. This is a hard movie to watch.
It was.
If you are somebody like us who is really going to feel what they're trying to have you feel. And that's why I asked the question about, do you actually feel like you've been emotionally manipulated? Because some people say that about this movie, and I'm like, okay, I could see if you watched this, you feel like they are really tugging you along. You feel like, stop dragging me to this place.
Yeah.
And you can see it coming. And then when it gets there, you're like, fuck you. You know what? But if you give in to that pull and you can tap into those feelings,
you have to let the movie really get you.
Yeah, it has to just sort of happen to you. Like you were talking about as we were driving home, is it Bong Joon-ho, the director? He
Yes.
said, Hamnet healed me.
This movie healed me.
This movie healed me. And I'm going to say a lot of that has to do with Chloe Zhao.
Yes.
We haven't talked about her at all yet. So this is the third of her movies in a row that we are covering on this show because she did Eternals and she did Nomadland. And we have done episodes on both of those movies. And the thing that I was really connecting with here is the fact that Chloe Zhao can capture the essence of the natural world.
Nature, yes.
In a way that I don't think a lot of directors really can, where this movie is about a woman who, like, the people around, the townsfolk say she's like the daughter of a witch, a forest witch.
Yeah.
And even she says, that's a bunch of baloney, but she is extremely connected to this place.
To the point where it seems like they're implying that she can talk to bees, or at least she can hear what bees are really feeling.
She can commune with nature
Yeah.
in a way that nobody else can. And there are people like this in the world where they just have such a reverence for every living thing, and they can feel the vibrations of the universe, as it were. And it sounds like a bunch of hooey, but then you see them in practice and they can just like stick their fucking hand in a beehive and pull out the honey and walk away completely unscathed. These people exist. You and I are not those people. I ain't doing anything that fucking crazy.
No, it's also like Bill Paxton in Twister, where he can just put his finger up to the air and know what the storm is going to do.
Yeah, there's just something about it where people can sense it. They feel it, which is why, like when she is giving birth the first time, there is kind of an in-tune thing happening where she is breathing, the winds are breathing. She can sense it.
Right.
Like, it's time. I have to go to the forest. And she senses it the second time too. But because there's such chaos happening outside, that's reflected on her on the inside of the house.
God damn it, Betsy. Every word coming out of your mouth now is just proving to me that this movie is a masterpiece that absolutely deserved to get nominated for Best Picture. Oh, wow.
And Chloe Zhao is such just a quiet, peaceful human being from what I've seen of her. She's always so humble. If you watched the Golden Globes, when this movie won, she was so dumbfounded. She just sort of stood there for a little while.
And she let other people go up there and start speaking. I mean, fucking Steven Spielberg got up there and started speaking first because he helped produce the movie, along with Sam Mendes, by the way.
And I don't know if it was Spielberg or who it was, but they're like, go up on stage.
Yes.
She's just standing there because she's just like, what happened?
But you know what? She was formulating kind of the best thing to say at that moment at the Golden Globes. So I'm fucking pulling for this movie. I mean, I don't know if I wanted to win or not, but damn, I know that there's people out there who are completely dismissing this movie out of hand without ever even fucking seeing it. You need to be like Agnes in this movie. Open your heart, go and see it, allow it to wash over you, and I dare you not to be affected by it. But with that, Betsy, I know there's some other stuff here that we have to mention. One thing that I'm going to tell you first, and this might blow your mind. So Hamlet, the character in this show, did you recognize him? The blonde, the guy who had the painted hair.
The actor did look familiar, but I do not know why.
Okay, I recognize him right away. I had to look up exactly what movie we knew him from, but it's another Oscar-nominated movie that we've seen a few times. He's the kid in Ford versus Ferrari.
The son?
The son, yes.
Oh God, he's grown up now.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Time is passing before my eyes.
But Betsy, not only that, but he and the kid who plays Hamnet are brothers in real life.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Jacoby Jupe, something like that, and Noah Jupe are brothers.
Okay, I actually like that they did that because I was thinking they cast this well. They do have an air about them, like they look like they could be the same person.
You know, with having the mother right there in the front row, looking up at what your son could have looked like. Oh God, just a genius move to cast fucking brothers like that.
We didn't talk about it yet either. That moment where he's dying and she reaches out and everybody in that theater fucking breaks the fourth wall and he just looks out and is like, wow, people actually are connecting with this work. These words.
That, Betsy, was not a scripted thing. Jessie Buckley reached out and it was not supposed to happen. And all of the natural reaction of everybody in that crowd doing it at the same time, fucking magical.
Because here's the thing. I'm sure to an extent, they're just doing the play and they're filming it and capturing all the reactions along the way because that is the play. Like the second they were rehearsing it in that courtyard and he kept saying again, you're just repeating the words. You're not feeling the words. You're not saying them to mean anything. I was like, oh, I recognize this scene. We've written it. It exists. We are going to get Hamlet now.
Yeah.
And then we get little bits of the play. We don't get the whole thing because that would be absurd. But yeah, that moment, it's really beautiful where she's so overcome, where she's just trying to comfort this person who she is now projecting her own son onto. And of course, he's also wearing blue the way her little boy did. And she's like, come on. Which is, again, I get it. You could say this is completely manipulative, but what art isn't?
Yeah.
What art isn't?
It's a fucking movie.
This is a movie about overcoming grief. Of course they're going to manipulate your emotions.
Which is why it's so great in that moment when she's looking around, when there's like a moment there where everybody is dead on stage, where she realizes everybody around her is affected by what just happened on stage. And she's the only person looking around and she laughs. She laughs.
And she looks at William Shakespeare.
Yes.
She looks at him and she's like, I get it.
You did it.
I get it.
And I get why you did this. Wow.
And everyone else is still just dumbfounded. You could hear a fucking pin drop in that room.
Yeah. Well, I only had one other little moment here, and I'll let you go. But the moment when her bird dies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The bird. That
and
scene.
You being a birder is even kind of a more special thing here. But them kind of surrounding the dead bird and offering it, offerings, I guess. And her just talking to her kids about, you do this, you whisper a little wish into your hands like it's a prayer. You do this, you make a whistle, and you look up and you'll see the bird.
You send him on his way.
Yeah.
And he'll always be thinking of you.
I loved that scene so much.
But when they brought it back and her son is on the precipice of death and he is having a vision of being on the stage and he looks up and he sees the bird. I'm like, oh no, he sees the bird.
Yeah.
It's coming. Yeah. It's happening.
And William Shakespeare is running back on his horse and looks up at the same time and sees that same bird.
Yeah. And then at the end of the movie where the little boy, they both see him. They both see this little boy and he walks into the darkness and he's gone. It's just like, stop.
Again, it's a fucking metaphor about grief.
I cried so many fucking times in this movie.
And there's just one more.
And it was just like, I knew it was going to end with me crying. I didn't foresee this movie ending without me feeling anything. I just wasn't expecting the level of acting that Jessie Buckley is doing to hit me so hard so many times.
Yeah.
Because it's many times throughout the movie that I am feeling everything she is feeling.
But now that I am done with my little bits here, did you have anything else, Betsy?
Amazingly, Trent, no. I just checked my notes and we have said everything that I wrote down. And I take notes differently than you do.
Yeah.
I write down the things that I want to talk about, and we have talked about them all.
Right then. Well, with that, I think that's going to do it for Hamnet. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. I'm going to have a really, really hard time with this when we get to our Oscar special. And by the way, if you didn't already know, we do an Oscar special at the end of the Oscars. I mentioned it in the intro. Normally it comes out on Oscar Sunday. We're not going to do that. It is going to be the end of February. March is going to be a completely new theme that I hope people are really going to like because, hey, we have a tradition on this show where after the glitz and glamour of the Oscars, we go right into the gutter. Just a little tease for everybody for March, but we got to stop talking about Hamnet now because my brain cannot handle anymore. So we want to hear from you. Have you seen Hamnet? God, I hope so, because I do believe that this movie deserves to be seen by a whole lot of people. Please email your thoughts to neverseenitpod@gmail.com. And thankfully, because we're doing this right before the episode comes out, we had enough time to receive an email from our superfan Stephanie about our episode last week, Wake Up Dead Man. She says, I liked this one, but I didn't love it. I felt like we got just enough to be interested in these side characters, but not enough to really truly care about them. Plus, most had nothing to do with the actual mystery, so as far as the mystery is concerned, it's just okay. Yeah, it's not structured like the other Knives Out movies.
And you're either going to love that or you're not.
She says what elevates the movie is the cast and the dialogue. So great. Everyone did amazing work. Betsy is right. The vibe is more akin to the first Knives Out movie. However, I prefer the humor of Glass Onion. So Dead Man is my least favorite. I still like it, but I think the other ones have a better plot. As you guys mentioned in the podcast, this movie is somehow about Benoit coming to understand faith more than the whodunit, and it's just not my thing. Anywho, love you guys from Superfan Stephanie.
I'll be curious because, as I said in the episode, Rian Johnson and Daniel Craig would love to keep making these. And I did check. That was the end of the contract with Netflix. So they are not bound by the rules of Netflix anymore. Someone else is going to have to produce the movie, but that's okay.
Right.
I am fine with it. But I'll be curious when, I will say when, because I will venture a guess we'll get one sooner rather than later. When we get the next Knives Out movie, maybe he'll go more back to what the second one was, where it's a little funnier.
Or how about this, Betsy? He can do whatever the fuck he wants.
He can. I'll be there. I don't really
totally
care. I'm going to show up.
I'm totally down for whatever Rian Johnson wants to do. I talked about it at the end of that episode. I am very, very curious about like what he wants to do outside of even doing a Knives Out thing. Which, by the way, we just guested on another podcast just this past week. It just came out on Friday. This is Saturday, and this is coming out on Sunday. Go and check out the podcast Bad Movies We Love, where we actually talk about Rian Johnson in that episode, believe it or not.
We talked about the movie In Time.
Yeah, we covered the movie In Time, which is a kind of a bad movie, but we still love it. So again, thanks to Nick for having us on that show. But if you too would like to be like Stephanie and be a super fan, send us an email to neverseenitpod@gmail.com. Follow us on all the social media stuff. You can find the link to all of our social media stuff within every episode description. Of course, included in that is our link to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where we have 5 other shows that we produce for you every single month. If you're not down with a whole lot of Oscar stuff this month, I understand. Go to patreon.com/neverseenitpod and you can get a whole lot of other silly stuff where we're not on the fucking podcast crying all the time, which, by the way, we do cry in some of those episodes on Patreon, maybe more there than here.
Okay, but we certainly don't cry when we're watching things like Dawn of the Dead.
No.
Or Blast from the Past, which are
Yes.
2 of the movies we talked about in January.
Yes, so please go there. You'll help us out. You'll support the show. And you'll have a good time. We have a great time on Patreon. But speaking of having a great time, Betsy, I've had a great time with you. What are we going to be doing to continue the great time next week?
We've got 3 more Best Picture nominees to go. So next week we are going to Brazil, just like we did last year, but we're not saving it till the very end of the season. Because we actually can watch the movie now. We will be watching The Secret Agent.
We watched a trailer for this just a couple of days ago, and holy crap, does that movie look cool as hell. So please come back next week for The Secret Agent. Until then, my name is Trent.
My name is Betsy.
This has been Never Seen It. See ya, folks.
Bye.